Hi, I'm Aaliyah Johnson and thanks for joining me in my project to build a network storage computer. The reason I've decided to do this is because I have so many external hard drives and I've completely run out of space now. And especially ones like this, they're so bulky, they don't stack nicely and they also use their own power supply. And what I find really frustrating is when I have a few plugged in at once, I just can't find enough power plugs to plug everything in. It gets all tangled up, gets a bit of a nightmare. And these are a little bit more compact, they look nicer, they're portable, and they get their power through USB. But what I find annoying is if I try to plug 2 or 3 in at once, I don't have enough USB ports, so it's not really ideal. And that's why I've decided to build a dedicated storage device so that I can access all my documents in one place. So this is my computer case, and these are all the components which I'm going to be putting together, and I'll talk you through a bit as I go along. So here's the case I'm going to be using. It's an ATX mid-tower case, and it's a Charcoon T9 value. And this case comes in a variety of colours. You can get black, white, red, green or blue. And as you can see here, the colour I've picked is green. And I kind of think it's like a lime green colour, which is quite relevant because I'm going to be building an unRAID box by Lime Technology. So it goes well with the theme, like lime green, Lime Technology, and that's what I liked. And the styling of this case, it's fairly minimal. There's not too much going on. Actually feels very light actually, I like it. And it looks really nice from the back. But one thing I do like is the side panel. It has a clear window and it's got a slight tint to it. It looks really nice on there. But once everything's in place and I've got all my components there, I can kind of show off and everyone can see what's inside. I'm looking forward to once all that's all done. So the main thing I was looking for when buying my case was that it has 9 external drive bays, and that's so I can maximise the number of hot swappable drives I can install internally. And that makes it quite convenient when replacing these drives, because then I don't have to open up the whole thing and do it that way. It just makes it so much easier. So what I did notice with the majority of cases was that it only has 3 or 4 of these bays, which means additional drives will have to be installed internally. But as standard, this case comes with 3 120mm fans. You can see this one is the exhaust fan. Don't know if you can see from this angle, but there's 2 fans here which are the intake fans. I'm actually going to be removing these to fit hard drive enclosures in this space. And the enclosures have their own fans, which is quite handy because that will take care of the cooling side of things. So I'm now going to show you my hard drive enclosure. We can take a look. This is the IcyBox 5-in-3 drive enclosure. It can hold 5 hot swappable drives and it fits into a space of 3 drive bays. At the moment I've only got 1 of these, but I'm going to be buying 2 more. So once I've got the other 2, they will actually take up the whole space of this. And in total I'll have 15 drives, which is a lot of space. So I'm really excited about that. So next I'm going to show you the motherboard I'll be using. This is a Supermicro X9 SCL ±F motherboard, and it has a micro ATX form factor. It's got an 1155 socket and supports 2nd and 3rd generation core processors. In fact, I'll be using Core i3. It's got 4 memory slots supporting up to 32GB of DDR3 RAM. There are 3 PCI Express lanes and 6 SATA ports. And interestingly, it's got an internal Type A USB port here, and you can plug a bootable USB stick into it, but I'll explain more about this later. This has onboard graphics, so there's no need for a separate graphics card, especially since I'm only really using this computer for storage and not really video games or anything. And I chose Supermicro because it's server grade, and that's really important to me, especially since I'm going to be using this storage box 24/7. A really cool feature about this motherboard is it has IPMI, and that stands for Intelligent Platform Management Interface. And this will allow me to remotely manage this computer without having a monitor or keyboard attached, so effectively running headless. So let's get on with the build and start by fitting the processor. I've now fitted the CPU along with a stock cooler, and I've got 2 sticks of 4GB RAM giving me a total of 8 gigs. So I'm now going to get my case ready so that I can install the motherboard. I've now fitted the standoffs and the rear I/O shield, which you can see here. So I'm now ready to fit my motherboard. As you can see, the motherboard's in place now, so I'm ready to fit the power supply. This is a Corsair HX650 power supply, and it's semi-modular. It's 80+ gold certified, so it's very efficient. And it has a single plus 12 volt rail and a maximum current of 54 amps. So that's more than enough juice to power this PC, which can hold up to a maximum of 15 hard drives. So I think it's now time to fit the power supply. drive cage is now fitted, and to do this I had to remove the front panel and also these two front intake fans, which I don't need. And the only thing I need to do now is plug in the remaining cables to the motherboard. I've now connected all the cables internally, and I know it does look a bit like a spaghetti junction, but I will be fixing these to look a bit neater. And oh, also as well, I wanted to show you how I can make use of this internal USB port. And I do have here a USB stick that holds the unRAID operating system. So let me just show you how I can connect this. I think I've got it the right way up. Yeah. So that goes in there. And now that's in place, that means I can configure this to be the primary boot device. So that's really cool. And next all I need to do is insert the data hard drives. So I just need to take these out. The build's all done now, but before I tidy up all the wires and put the side panels back on, I just want to power this up and check that everything's all working. I've checked that everything's working okay and the unRAID operating system has been installed. And I wanted to show you the IPMI feature of the motherboard, which I mentioned to you earlier. And with IPMI, I can actually remotely manage this computer. And I'm going to be demonstrating that with this laptop. So as you can see, there's no monitor or keyboard. I'm actually just using this laptop. So this computer, at the moment, the power's off, and you can see none of the lights are turned on. And at the back here, other than the power cable, the only thing connected is this network cable, and that's connected to the router. And I've already installed IPMI View, and I downloaded this through the Supermicro website. I've already configured the IP location of my new computer, and I've named it unRAID Computer. So if I double click here, then I'm prompted to log in and connect. So now I'm connected, I'm in control. If we look under IPM device, this confirms that the computer is powered off. If we look under KVM console, I can open up a console window which shows the video output from the connected IPM device. And as you can see, it's showing no output, and that's because the device is not turned on. Using this IPMI view program, I can now power up my unRAID computer. And as you can see, the computer's now powering up. Shortly, you should be able to see that the console window will come alive. I don't know how long it will take, but hopefully it will soon come up. And there we go. So that's showing the boot up sequence of the motherboard BIOS. It should be fairly quick, I'm hoping, since I'm always fairly impatient with things. And there you go, that's the unRAID operating system booting up. It's actually quicker than I thought, so that's good. This bit might take longer than the first part, but we'll see. Oh, and there we go, that wasn't too bad. So now you can see the default login prompt for logging into the unRAID system. And there's actually a web interface to manage the unRAID box. So instead of logging in here, I'm going to bring up my web browser and show you what I mean. So this is the default web front end, and this allows me to configure and manage my unRAID computer. But I can only use this after the computer's fully booted. So having the IPMI feature, it gives me complete control of the computer itself. So that was just a brief demonstration of how IPMI works, and now I'm going to tidy up all my cables so I can finish my build. Everything's all neat and tidy now. It's looking much better, so I'm really happy with this. You can have a closer look and see how it's all looking inside. So now I just need to put the side panel on and everything's complete. This is going to look really cool once it's all done. That's in place. There we go. Well, thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it.